I recently had the privilege of giving a retention talk to my friends at the Heartbeat community, and I taught them my Retention Accelerator Framework. I shared that with you in a previous episode, so look in the show notes or in the description for the link to that episode. But if you listened to that and you thought, well, Shana, how do I actually apply this in my membership? I went through a breakdown where I showed how I would apply this to onboarding as I'm thinking through revising onboarding. So that's what we're going to share with you now. So if you haven't listened to the Retention Accelerator episode, look for the link in the description. Listen to that first and then come back here and listen through how I think through and apply it strategically to various aspects of the member journey. I want to just give you a little sample of like how I would think through this for something like onboarding, because I know that it can be a little hard if you're like, I've never thought about things this way. Like, what does it look like for me to actually think through that? If I'm evaluating my membership right now, and if you're going, well, where do I start? You always start with onboarding. And the reason being is because we have attention, we have motivation, we have buy-in when they first purchase, and we can very quickly lose it, right? We can very quickly lose attention, and we can very quickly have buyer's remorse with our members. So our onboarding is the most essential part of our member journey. That's why you always want to start there. And it's also because if you don't do that well, and let's say you're losing, 10, 15% of people between month 1 and month 2, that's your largest impact on your revenue, right? Losing 10% of people a year from now is very different than losing 10% of people in month 1, because we've missed out on all those potential revenue months. So onboarding is super important. So if I look at it and I'm first starting with results, like what are the friction points? Where is there friction? Or you could think about it like objections. If you're a marketing minded person, like where are the objections that are keeping people from getting results inside of this program when I think about onboarding? Then I'm going to ask myself some questions. Okay, well, is my progress path really clear? Like when they complete onboarding, are they going, I see how I'm going to get results here. I trust that this person has a plan for me. And if not, I probably need to do a better job of communicating that I have a clear path for them to move through. When I'm done with onboarding, do I know my next step? Am I really clear on what the next action, the first action I need to take after onboarding is? And that's also important because, again, we talked about a quick win. So if somebody completes our onboarding and then they, go to binge their favorite Netflix special and they forget about you and they ignore your emails and they're not really motivated to take that first step, or they're not even sure where to start and they're overwhelmed, that second payment's going to hit and they're going to be like, whoa, wait a second here. Like, I haven't done anything. I haven't showed up. You haven't helped me. What have you done for me lately? Nothing. So they're going to cancel. So we want to make sure that from onboarding, we're taking them very clearly into a next step that's going to help get them a quick win. And then even we have to remember that coaching piece. That coaching piece is all about the mindset, not just the stuff, but the mindset. Do I believe it's possible for me? Have you done an adequate job of reselling me? You never stop selling, of reselling me on the fact that this is possible for me, right? Because then I'm motivated to take that next step. So all of that has to do with friction. Like the friction when you get to onboarding, you ask yourself the question, will they complete onboarding? Or maybe your friction is they're not even doing the onboarding. So you've got to think about what the friction is to get them to do it. But let's say they have completed it and then they just drop off. Then I'm going, okay, have I done a good job motivating them? Do they really understand this is possible for them? Do they understand why it's important? Are they clear on their next step? Are they clear that this is the right thing for them? Right? So that's kind of how I would think about the results piece for onboarding. Then I think about the recognition piece. All right. And again, going back to that, I'm looking for opportunities to personalize and to praise. Personalize and praise. That's what we're looking for with recognition. So I might ask the question of, have I given them direction on how to personalize the membership experience for them? So for example, if you have live coaching calls or live Q&As, have you made it clear that there are also replays available that they can access if for whatever reason they can't make the call live, right? Have I told them that inside of the hub, they're going to see how they can ask questions in advance? Or do they ask questions on the call, right? Have I made it really clear how to personalize that? Let them know that there are transcripts for my video content, right? Maybe there's not, but if there is, have I told them that? Because that's a way that it can be personalized for people who are maybe neurodivergent learners. So there's different things that I can think about there. Have I really made it clear how they can personalize their journey and still get the result? Maybe at the end, I want to direct them to something that is specific for them based on the stage they're in. So we kind of talked about, I think Jess had never sewn before and Sally had sewn a pillow, right? And I'm teaching people how to sew. So when she gets to the end of onboarding, is there a little assessment quiz or again, that PDF that we talked about that just says, if you've done this, start here. If you've done this, start here. And if you've done this, start here, right? Do I have that right there at the end so that I can give them personalized guidance? When they complete onboarding, am I celebrating that completion? Am I sending them an email that's like, you're amazing. Oh my goodness. Like you've already made so much progress. You completed onboarding or you synced the calendar or you completed the assessment or whatever that might be. And, have I looked for an opportunity to send a personalized outreach to them? Maybe a Bonjoro welcome video. Some people send handwritten notes in the mail. Some people just send a really nice welcome email that goes to everybody, but it's very heartfelt in how excited you are for them to join. Have I looked for those opportunities? So that's recognition. So then we get into relationships. And I'm going to ask myself the question of, in my welcome video, did they see more of me than they would ever see in my marketing? Did they get a little insider peek at me, at Shana? Do they feel like they know me better now than they did before? Are they feeling more connected and more bought into this, right? Have I introduced my team members? If there's team members who are going to be involved, when they get in the community, I want them to know Misty. I don't want them to get in there and be like, who's this Misty chick? Where'd she come from, right? I want to tell them when they onboard, like, you're going to get to know Misty and she's incredible. She's going to be like your rock star guide on this journey and she can help answer any question that you have. And she's experienced XYZ before too. So she's the perfect person to guide you here, right? And then have I made it clear how they get connected in the community? Not just how do you go in and create a profile, but how do you introduce yourself and how do you really plug in so that you're not just a ghost in the community or a lurker in the community? And then have I shared any stories of other community members that might help them feel connected and feel related? Because everybody has different experiences. Some people, if you're helping people build a business, some people work full-time, some people work part-time, some people are homeschooling, some people are parents. And so if we have different stories woven into our onboarding and into our onboarding emails or videos or whatever that experience is for your people, then I can help them feel more connected to the community. So that's kind of how I would be auditing my onboarding experience, by thinking about results recognition and relationship. And I would do this for every part of my member journey.